Welcome in, everyone. Ready for another deep dive? Today, we're really focusing on the power of self-discovery through the lens of one man's incredible life, Thom Reed.
I was just thinking as I was looking over his story again, it really makes you think about those chance encounters. You know how some things just seem to fall into place? It's like, how does that happen? His life is full of those
It
moments.
truly is, and you're right. His life story is just remarkable. I mean, picture this. Born in Japan to African-American parents. Talk about a unique perspective right from the start.
Absolutely. And you can see how that upbringing with this strong sense of family, but also this real openness to different cultures, it really laid the groundwork for everything he's passionate about.
It's like that foundation set the stage for a life dedicated to bridging worlds almost. And there are these incredible moments of serendipity throughout his life, too. Oh, absolutely.
Like take his conversion to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, right? And then what are the odds? He ends up serving his mission in Japan, back in his birthplace. But this time, with this whole new layer of understanding, talk about a full circle moment.
Wow. Yeah. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it, about those times in your life when things just seem to line up perfectly, even if you had a totally different plan.
Right. Like maybe we're all being nudged in certain directions, whether we realize it or not.
That's exact.
And you see that play out in Tom's professional life, too. I mean, talk about a winding path. He goes from marketing executive.
Which, is no small feat in itself.
Oh, absolutely not. To this incredibly impactful role in the world of family history. Genealogy is quite a shift. It is. But I think it speaks to this idea that sometimes those passions we end up devoting our lives to, they come from the most unexpected places.
That's a great point. And for Tom, that unexpected turn of events, well, it came in 2008 when he lost his job. It forced him to relocate, move to Utah, and that's where he stumbles into FamilySearch. It's almost like those puzzle pieces. They might have been scattered for a while, but suddenly they all started falling into place.
It's true. Sometimes the toughest moments, the ones we might perceive as setbacks, they become the catalysts for our most fulfilling work. And what's so fascinating about Tom's story is how his own personal journey, his quest to uncover his roots, it unfolds right alongside his professional one.
Exactly. It's like he immerses himself in the world of genealogy, and he can't help but delve into his own family's past.
Right, which is such a natural thing, isn't it?
It is. But here's the thing. Like so many African Americans researching their ancestry, he hits a wall. The 1870 census.
And that is a huge roadblock for so many people.
It is.
I mean, think about it. That's the first census after the Civil War where you finally have formerly enslaved people listed by name. Before that, it's incredibly difficult to trace lineages with any accuracy.
It's a powerful reminder, isn't it, about the systemic barriers that exist even when it comes to something like uncovering your family history.
Yep.
Particularly for marginalized communities.
Absolutely.
But Tom, he doesn't give up. And then comes the trip to Ghana.
Oh, now that is a pivotal moment in his journey. I can only imagine what it must have been like for him to stand in a slave dungeon, to have that tangible connection to such a painful past, especially for someone so in tune with his heritage.
Right. Just imagine the emotions, the weight of that experience.
Heavy.
It definitely stayed with him long after he returned home. And that experience, it ultimately leads him to take a DNA test.
And the results just added this whole other layer to his story. Suddenly, he has confirmation tracing his ancestry back to Cameroon and Nigeria.
Amazing. And he even decided to share those results, like the moment he got them, through a live Facebook event.
Which, if you think about it, speaks volumes about what's important to him. Connection, bringing people along on that journey of discovery.
Absolutely. And, there's another incredibly powerful moment that we have to talk about. His encounter with LeVar Burton at RootsTech 2017.
Oh, yes.
But before we jump into that, something you just said really got me thinking.
I'm curious. What's on your mind?
Well, we've been talking about these serendipitous events in Tom's life, but to what extent do we actually create our own luck? Is it all chance? Or is it about recognizing opportunities, being open to new possibilities, even when they're completely unexpected?
That's such a great question. And, honestly, it's something I think about a lot myself. Because, yeah, there's definitely an element of serendipity, right? Things just happen. But at the same time, I do believe we have some agency. We can create opportunities or at least be ready for them when they pop up.
I love that. So it's not just about chance encounters. It's about being receptive.
Exactly. Being willing to step outside of that comfort zone, saying yes to things, even if they weren't part of the plan.
Because often it's in those moments of uncertainty when we're forced to pivot or reevaluate That's when we discover those hidden passions, that purpose we didn't even know we were searching for.
100%.
Okay, so speaking of purpose, let's get back to Tom's story. Specifically, that encounter with LeVar Burton at RootsTech back in 2017. Now, for those who might not be familiar, RootsTech is this massive genealogy conference, and LeVar Burton, the actor, literacy advocate, he was a keynote speaker.
Yeah, and it was during that event that Thom actually presented LeVar Burton with his family history. And get this, it turned out there were all these ancestral connections, links that nobody had ever put together before. You can imagine how moving that was, especially for someone like LeVar Burton. It was a really powerful moment that highlighted, I think, the emotional core of genealogy. Because it's not just about names on a page, right? It's about those human connections, those shared experiences, realizing that we're all part of something so much bigger than ourselves.
It's giving me chills just thinking about it.
All right,
because it wasn't just some dry historical account. It was deeply personal. And that brings us to Tom's work with the Freedmen's Bureau Project, which is, to this day, such a significant initiative, especially for anyone researching African-American ancestry.
Absolutely. And for those who might not know, the Freedmen's Bureau, this was established right after the Civil War to help formerly enslaved people transition to freedom. And they get these incredibly detailed records. Marriage registers, labor contracts, land deeds.
Talk about a treasure trove of information.
It is. But the thing is, these records were scattered all over the country. Many of them tucked away in archives, basically inaccessible to the very people who needed them most. So what Thom did, he spearheaded this effort to digitize over 1 million of those documents, made them searchable online through this Freedmen's Bureau project.
That's incredible. It's literally like opening this window into the past.
Exactly. And it speaks to this commitment that Thom has to make genealogy accessible, to democratize it, especially for communities that have historically been excluded from those narratives.
It's like he's paying it forward in a way, right? Using his own experiences, his own passion for this work to help others uncover those stories, the richness of their own family history.
Precisely. And that's what he does with RootsTech, too, which, he's played a huge role in shaping it into the world's largest family history event. It brings people together from all walks of life. It's really quite amazing.
It really makes you think about the impact one person can have, doesn't it?
It really does.
I mean, his whole career has become this platform to promote understanding, connection, a deeper appreciation for our shared human story. And it all goes back to that idea of serendipity, of purpose, right?
It all connects.
Tom's life is like this testament to the power of embracing the unexpected, finding meaning in those connections we make along the way, which, it makes me think about our listeners.
Oh, yeah. What comes to mind?
Well, we're obviously captivated by Tom's story, but I think there's this powerful message here for everyone listening. I mean, what might we discover if WE each took a deep dive into our own WN family history?
Oh, it's incredible, to think about all those stories, just waiting to be uncovered. It's not always easy. We've seen that even with Tom's journey. There are roadblocks for sure, but it's so rewarding when you start peeling back those layers.
And that's what makes genealogy so fascinating to me, because it's more than just names and dates on a page. It's about rediscovering those narratives, bringing them to life. And in doing so, we understand ourselves better, We see how those experiences shaped who WE are today.
Exactly. And the best part is, it's a journey anyone can take. You don't have to have some famous ancestor, some crazy family drama. Sometimes the most profound discoveries, they come from the ordinary lives of those who came before us.
That's such a great point. And these days, with all the resources available online, archives, DNA testing, it's easier than ever to get started.
It really is. I think Thom Reed's story, it's this great reminder that genealogy, it really is for everyone. It's a way to connect with our past, to understand our present, and who knows, maybe even find a sense of purpose we didn't even know we were looking for.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Well, we covered a lot of ground today. Everything from those early experiences that shaped how Thom sees the world to his incredible work, really breaking down those barriers in the genealogy community. It's been quite a journey.
It really has. And it just goes to show the power of curiosity, and resilience, and that deep appreciation for our shared human experience.
Well said. And if you're feeling inspired to embark on your own genealogy adventure, we've got you covered. Be sure to check out our show notes for all those links, resources we mentioned, information about Thom Reed and his work, and of course, some great starting points for your own deep dive into family history.
Who knows, you might just unearth a hidden gem or two.
That's what it's all about. Thanks for joining us for another deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring.